It's so much quieter these days without everyone around. Not that I'm pining for your return, you understand. I have my sources, and I know that each and every one of you is doing well and keeping busy with your endeavors. Meanwhile, I'm left with a surplus of free time and the question of how to make the most of it. What about you? Any plans for the immediate future? Traveling to the edge of existence and back wasn't enough? Well, if that's the case, I might have a suggestion for you. You've fought bravely and selflessly, helping those in need and saving our star from unimaginable threats. For your deeds, you've been hailed as the champion of Eorzea and a host of other incredible things. But why not put those titles aside for a while? Acquit yourself as a simple adventurer again and travel the world in search of wonder. With so many exciting places to choose from, it's hard to narrow it down. But I believe I have the perfect destination in mind. Thavnair. That's where you should go next. I doubt you were able to squeeze in a proper tour of Radzat the last time you were there. What with the burning skies and rampaging monsters and so forth. And I'm sure Vritra would be pleased to see you. Then there's the bounty itself. The Empire's presence in the region was always a deterrent to exploration. So if you've a mind to sail that sea, now's your chance. Just think of all the new experiences you could have.
Tell me, have you been to the ruins beneath the waters of the Bounty? As the bearer of Azem's crystal, you may consider your duty to see at least that much.
Oh, I know that look. That's an adventurer ready to take on the world. In anticipation of an occasion like this, I was planning to gift you a new set of traveling clothes, but it's still a work in progress. Shouldn't take much longer now though, so sit tight and I'll have the last few bits sewn up before you can finish another cup of tea. Stitch in here and trim in there, knot the threads with love and care. just a little more to go. I'm sure you're still brimming with excitement. I am one with the needle. See how the fabric surrenders to my whims. Don't worry, I'll make sure the lining has plenty of pockets for all your little treasures. I swear adventurers are worse than children when it comes to hoarding every feather and leaf and animal hide they come across. Oh, we mustn't forget the waterproofing. Gods forbid you forget to disrobe before plunging into the sea, or a river, or a piping hot bath. Ah, you're awake. My apologies. I do get a little carried away with my sewing. You seem awfully cheerful. Pleasant dream? Or are you just looking forward to the next chapter of your grand saga? Either way, I promise to provide you with new apparel, and so I shall. If you'll accompany me to the Diamond Forge, we can put the finishing touches on your outfit. Shall we?
Marshal, please! You must let me have that treasure map!
What's all this about?
My mother and father were slaughtered by monsters. My baby sister, still too young to fend for herself. Can you spare us no kindness?
So, you hope to find your fortune? And what? You expect me to surrender my wares for pity's sake? What have you to offer in payment? As I thought. Come back when you've more than rags to your name. This is no mere treasure map. It is a guide to the vaults of Arzadal III, one of the great satraps of Radzat Han, and a direct descendant of Alzadal Khan.
A map to Alzadal's legacy?
So he says. A fake, I'd wager.
This is no fake. The parchment is marked with an arcane glyph of passage. You may find the ruins hidden in the bounty, but you won't be setting foot inside without this in your possession. A priceless artifact it is, discovered amongst the rubble in the aftermath of the final days, and lovingly restored by yours truly. This map is the key to fabulous riches, and I'll be the king of fools to simply give it away. Be glad I am no such king boy. Your scrawny-eyed had never return with that treasure alive.
Oh, cruel fate! Why must you tempt me with wealth I am powerless to claim? How I shall envy the one who purchases that precious map! Whatever they pay will be but pittance against the golden hoard they stand to uncover.
What have you, sir? Fighting man of your stature would surely relish the challenge of recovering Alzadal's lost fortune.
A fortune, you say?
If I had but the strength to seize that treasure, my starving sister would never want for food.
I'll take it. Will this cover the price? Well met, my friend. Someone is dressed for adventure. But why Favner of all places? Knowing you, I suspect there's more to your plans than sightseeing and shopping. Ruins beneath the bounty. Curious. And here I've acquired a map to just such a site.
With that sale, I do believe I've earned the rest of the day off. Thank you for your patronage, sir, but if you'll excuse me.
You needn't mind us.
And now I fleece one of the heroes of the final days. Pray the sisters were looking elsewhere.
This map may or may not be genuine. Either way, we'll need a ship to find out for sure.
Ariana, what are you doing?
Lest you misunderstand, I seek the treasure not for myself. If such a fortune truly exists, then it could help ease the struggles of those who lost their loved ones in the final days. I hope to do for Thavnir what you and Alphino did for the Alamegans when you recovered the Mad King's trove. Come now. You know Alphino needs little encouragement when it comes to recounting the tales of your shared exploits. Speaking of precocious lads, that boy in the bazaar was clearly an accomplice of the merchant. Suppose his role was to draw the attention of the crowd and add weight to the merchant's bold claims. Transparent act for the most part. It was not all mummery. The need to provide for his sister rang true enough. Thus, if some portion of the profits end up in that waif's pockets, then I will consider it money well spent, whether the map leads us to the vault or not. You are coming along, yes? I thought as much. Now, let's see about securing a vessel.
Ojika, my good man. Would you be so kind as to...
Oh, isn't this a pleasant surprise?
I wish you had sent word ahead. I thought I was having visions for a moment there.
Raha and I have been compiling old records of the students' activities. We were able to locate several accounts in the archives of Numenon, but the bulk of our documents was lost along with the Isle of Fowl.
But what brings you to the Annex, my friend? Surely you haven't come all this way just to watch us shuffle dusty papers around? The treasure vault of Alzadal III.
And you're looking for companions to join you on this expedition. I would dearly love to accompany you, of course, but I'm afraid I'm committed to another task, on the subject of which I had hoped to ask for your assistance. Then again, it's not so urgent that it can't wait until you've returned. You should go, Raha. I'll stay here and mind the shop, as it were.
Are you sure? I'd hate to leave you short-handed.
I'm sure. Just try to be back before too many moons have passed.
Well, I guess we're off on another adventure already. Have you asked anyone else to come along? Then might I suggest we invite your Stola? Ever since the Scions disbanded, she's spent most of her time cloistered within the Great Gooble Library, hoping to piece together a method to traverse the rift. It would seem, however, that whatever wisdom she sought there was not to be found. She arrived in Sharlayan the other day. We spoke briefly before she began her search of Numenon. Considering what you've told us of Alzadal's extraordinary feats, I do believe your Stola would be more than interested to hear what you have to say. Splendid! Then let us head to the archives at once.
Wait, before you go. I have another potential member to volunteer, if you've room to spare. Urianger. He sent the students a request for materials, you see. Treatises on the architecture of treasure vaults and the like. From what I can gather, the Loperites wish to build their own vault for the people of Atheris to explore, and are looking for inspiration to help make it a memorable experience. So, why not take Urianger with you? Let him study Alzadal's legacy firsthand.
None can deny the benefit of seeing something with your own eyes. If our expedition leader has no objections, I say we extend Urianger an invitation once we've spoken with your Stola.
Safe travels, you two, but don't forget, I'd still like your help with that other matter I mentioned.
Right! Then it's off to the library. I've never known Y'shtola to doze off in the middle of research before.
Close my eyes for one moment. Ow! Ugh. How long have you two been here? Something to that effect. I must have been studying for 2-3 days straight before exhaustion finally claimed me. As you know, I've been researching ways to travel from the source to one of its reflections. Well, looking for hints at least. I don't expect to find a simple set of instructions tucked away in some dark corner of the library. So I've been skimming through the stacks, hoping to uncover even a partial mention of any similar feats in the past. A means to travel between worlds exists, and you can be sure I will find a way to employ it. So I promised Runar, but 'twould seem I've set myself a nigh impossible task.
You needn't be so hard on yourself. The leap I made with the Crystal Tower was not achieved in an afternoon. It was the culmination of a collective effort spanning generations.
Oh, you think me discouraged? I assure you, 'tis quite the opposite. A daunting challenge and the time to sink my teeth into it. I feel like a fresh-faced student again.
A scholar in her element.
Indeed. Was there something else you wish to ask of me? Alzadal is no minor figure in Harnish history, and much is known about his family. But this is the first I've heard of a descendant surviving a trip to another world. If those tales are true, then he may have left behind some clue as to how it was accomplished. An invitation to delve into one of the world's lingering mysteries, as if I could refuse. And whence do we embark upon this expedition?
Akyali, by ship. But before that, we thought to extend an invitation to Urianger as well. He was in Thalmazane, last we heard.
Then by all means, let us recruit him, and be on our way.
our illustrious champion. Cloaked in the mantle of the common explorer, fame set aside in thy pursuit of simple adventure. I am told a new expedition is in the offing. He left to attend to some personal errand, but should be returning ere long.
You've been keeping yourself busy, I trust?
True to our plan, Thancred and I embarked upon a pilgrimage of sorts, with an eye for gauging the state of those lands through which we passed. Our travels were interrupted, however, by a request for aid from our befurred lunar allies. As you may recall, the Loperids had been seeking new purpose for the moon, another role through which it might serve to benefit mankind. The Forum hath been working to advise them in this endeavor, but I return to offer mine own counsel.
And this has what to do with treasure vaults, exactly?
Ah, you have learned of my predicament from Mistress Cryle. I know not whence they acquired such knowledge, but the Loperids now stand convinced that adventurers delight in treasure hunts. Thus, with their newly built wonderland of riches and mystery, do they hope to entice all manner of daring delvers to the moon. So earnest and innocent was their desire to bring joy to the world that I found myself powerless to refuse them my cooperation. But what of you, my friends? Why are you come to Labyrinthos? Fascinating. This is indeed a most fortuitous opportunity. I should be honored to accept thine invitation. How long has it been, I wonder, when last our actions were not impelled by fate or desperation?
Aye. Though I cherish the Scion's accomplishments, 'tis pleasant to not have the weight of the world upon our shoulders for a change.
Counting Istinian, we number 5 now, yes? Without knowing what traps or perils await unwary feet, we may be wise to refrain from recruiting others.
I agree. Between us, we should have the skills to handle whatever situation may arise. Shall we be on our way?
What, no time to spare a word for the grizzled old bard?
All is well, I trust?
A wasted trip, I'm afraid. I'd hoped to catch up with a former mentor while you parleyed with the rabbits, but it seems our paths were not to cross. Having an astrologian beside you on the road is surprisingly convenient. And it doesn't hurt that he's making strides with his light-hearted banter. In any case, as we made our way around Ilzabard, we saw that much of the continent was in various stages of chaos. A certain amount of disorder is to be expected. The final days are over, and the people no longer have a common threat binding them together. That's the thing with these fledgling troubles, eh? You need to keep an eye out, lest they mature into full-grown headaches. So, for what reason have so many esteemed personages seemed fit to gather? Beneath the waters of the Bounty, you say? I see you've already stolen away my traveling partner with the promise of unexplored ruins and scholarly glory.
Nay, 'tis not for mine own indulgence, but rather the fulfillment of my commitment to the Loporrits.
Ah, of course. And if you have a Stinian rounding out your group, you'll likely have all the members you need.
Feeling left out? I could put in a good word for you, if you like.
We may have been released from our obligations, but I'll never be free of that merciless wit of yours, will I? In all seriousness, 'tis best I sit this one out. Too many former scions consorting with one another might be seen as a cause for concern in certain quarters. I'll return to my usual reconnaissance and scout out the situation in the Far East. Feel free to share if you come across any interesting revelations. Till we meet again.
Shall we also hasten our departure? Sir Estinian will wonder what hath become of us.
What have we here?
'Tis not unlike a Hunnish alchemical furnace in design.
Well, there is one way we might find out.
Stop! You mustn't touch it.
Vritra! Oh, my apologies. Should I continue calling you Varsham?
You may address me as you wish. My nature is no longer a secret. Still, this is not a setting I imagined for our reunion. Surely you've not entered these ruins as common looters.
Would that we could deny your accusations, but I fear you're not far from the truth.
Great Vritra, might we beseech thee to explain the nature of this strange contrivance?
It was crafted by our alchemists at my behest, for the purpose of sealing something away. Perhaps I should simply show you. I have lifted the seal, if only for the moment, by an authority only I possess.
A planar fissure?
No, my friend. Small though it may be, this is a functioning gate into the void.
The riches the Radiant Host have retrieved were hoarded in Alzadal's name. A fortune I set aside for a future day of need. And lo, that day hath come. May it aid our wounded city in reclaiming its vibrancy and vigor. In better times, I would leave such a task to our capable Ahawan. God's rest his soul. Finding myself bereft of his counsel in the here and now, I I will assume the responsibilities of mine office directly. Firstly, the treasure shall be sold for more convenient currency. Thence, invested into the trading port of Yedlamad. Our merchants must have their operations restored, their ships rebuilt. Commerce must flow once more. None were spared the tragedy of the final days. Of this I am well aware. But an absence was created by the loss of Kalzar's consortium. And by filling it, we provide new means for our fishermen, our artisans, and others to bring their wares to distant markets.
And what of the children who were left without family to care for them?
That is a concern which weigheth heavily upon my mind. A simple gift of coin will soon be exhausted, leaving these young souls adrift on the fringes of our society. Nay, a proper solution is needed, one which doth guarantee their welfare for years to come. Thou hast surely seen how other nations rise to meet this challenge, adventurer. What dost thou deem the wisest course? Of course, we can draw on trading profits to build a new institution. Let us put this idea into practice. A contract shall be written, requiring all who receive of Al-Zadal's treasure to commit a portion of their future earnings towards the running of an orphanage. Now, such an influential policy is deserving of a worthy name. A successful merchant. I believe I see thy reasoning. Kalzar should be remembered, not as the blasphemy which terrorized Thavne, but as a hard-working and generous man who brought much wealth to our shores. Do any among you object to this proposition? Many here lost loved ones to the beasts.
In that time of strife, any one of us could have broken. Any one of us may have been taken by despair. When I think of Kalzal, I feel no hatred. Only a stinging regret that we could not save him as well. Isn't that right, men?
This bodes well for that boy. Murad, was it? Perhaps he can cut ties with that shady peddler.
Then let it be done. Henceforth, this initiative shall be known as the Kalzal Foundation. Nabdeen, thou art to assemble a patrol and ensure that no child in this city liveth in squalor. Clerks, see to the management of our funds and make haste. Our citizens must not suffer a day more than is necessary.
Dragon and man, side by side in pursuit of a brighter morrow. Reminded of Ishgard.
Right, here we all are.
You discovered something new.
I took a closer look at that device. I was able to determine how it keeps the Void Gate sealed, but not how it might instead be employed to expand the opening. For that, I would need to reference the technique developed by Vritra's alchemists, no records of which appear to have survived the intervening years.
We know this, so why have you sent for us? Have you learned aught of value or not?
Patience, good sir. One must introduce the subject before launching into specifics. From what we understand, travel between worlds is accomplished by passing through the nebulous rift which exists between them. Picture, if you will, the moment you were called to the first. You touched a focus of some kind to help the Exarch pinpoint your location. His summoning spell then channeled the energies of the Crystal Tower to begin your journey to his world. The magics tore a hole in the wall separating source and shard, and cast you into the intervening nothingness. In that place, the laws of nature hold no sway. Yet even through this realm of temporal and spatial instability, you were borne safely to your destination in the first. The feat that guided you across such an unimaginable distance, both physical and metaphorical, was nothing short of a miracle.
Then what of the many Voidsent found in the source? Who guides them here, and how?
An excellent question. Though there are several methods by which the Void's denizens might intrude upon our world, the rituals of summoning are the most typical. For example, let us consider the Gargoyle, a creature of middling power. To call upon such an entity, the prospective summoner must force open a void gate. The portal lasts but a moment and is relatively small, allowing only an imp or other lesser being to squeeze through with their physical body intact. Our more powerful gargoyle, however, is too large for that. Creating a gate big enough for him would require vast amounts of energy, far beyond the reserves of any one mortal practitioner. Instead, 'tis far more common to bring over only the entity's soul. We had a taste of that ourselves when a certain exarch dragged us to the first. And just as our bodies remained in our world, the Voidsent's physical form is left behind in the 13th. Once at its destination, the summoned soul is granted a temporary shell to inhabit. In the gargoyle's case, a stone effigy has proven a suitable vessel.
Wait. You said that Voidsent must be called here deliberately by someone in the source, reeled in like a fisherman with his catch.
Exactly. For a being to navigate the chaos of the rift, with or without form, there must needs be a guiding agent on the other side.
When the hordes poured forth from Alag's Great Gate, it was the technologists who drew them through. Though to my knowledge, planar fissures are in essence natural passages between our world and the void, which require no such guidance to traverse. Why is only the boundary between the source and the 13th so fragile? So much so that it often tears open of its own accord.
I believe solving that mystery is key to understanding travel between the source and its reflections.
And how do you intend to get your answers?
No. The danger is too great.
Perhaps. But what some call danger, others think of as adventure.
Were you not listening to my tale? Never mind that the means to expand the gate has been lost to the ages. Even could you force the portal wide enough, you would be greeted by an army of murderous horrors the very instant you step through.
I assure you I was most attentive. And I agree that to go alone would be certain death. But if I were to bring along one who has already braved the 13th and humbled the cloud of darkness, well, I imagine my chances would be much improved. Since when were you one for the quiet life? Once again, I put my life in your ever-reliable hands. That said, as much as I would like to march straight back to the Void Gate, there is the small matter of being unable to open it without the Satrap's personal authority.
As I've said before, I will grant you and yours any boon you choose to name, provided it does not endanger my people.
You have my word that we will take every precaution. Not a single void scent will be allowed to threaten Radzatan, assuming we manage to expand the portal in the first place.
You have a plan.
Actually, I had hoped you might help us with that. I presume the alchemists you retained supplied you with some explanation of their methodology.
That they did. House Daimir was overseeing the project.
Daimir. Ah, yes. The family associated with the great work.
I did not fully comprehend the theory, but their research began with a void scent which had slipped through the fissure. After a thorough examination, they created an arcane simulacrum possessed of similar qualities. A man-made void scent, if you will. It was apparently indispensable in their efforts to enlarge the gate.
A man-made void scent?
Yes. Being great admirers of the Archons, House Daimir submitted detailed notes to Charlene's official committee. They expected praise and accolades for their simulacrum, and were thus devastated to be informed that their work had been classified as prohibited material.
If that's true, then those notes might still be stored in a forbidden archive somewhere. Not Google, of course, since that library had yet to be built. Which leaves us with... Indeed. Numenon's restricted stacks may very well hold a copy. In which case, I say we head directly to Charlene.
Unless you anticipate needing help to reach the high shelves, I see myself being of little use. Go on ahead. I still need to find Mirad and tell him about the Khalzal Foundation.
Let us be on our way as well.
They are resolved to venture into the void. Do I sit idly by?
House Damia's notes are to be found anywhere, it will be here. Let us begin. Yes, the ether signature is unmistakable. I've felt the traces of House Damia's resonance many times at the Great Work. Time to see what all the fuss was about. Among the ranks of the Voidsent, there exist entities with the power to call forth their brethren from beyond. The species known as Atomos, however, is uniquely prodigious in this regard. From its distended maw, it can expel an endless procession of void-born creatures, a talent which sorely tested the Radiant Host in its battles against these abominations. Surmising that the entity itself was acting as a void gate, we endeavored to capture a small specimen and subsequently examine its physiological structure. Our findings revealed that the Atomos had absorbed a planar fissure into its own flesh, which it could expand at will into a functioning gate. Upon further analysis, we identified an ethereal wave pattern emitted during this process. A pattern we were able to emulate by passing crystal-stored ether through a specially designed prism. We proceeded to embed said How could I have been so blind to the possibilities? This species, not to mention its ability to summon void scent, has been discussed among academics for years now. Just before the advent of the 7th Umbral Calamity, we received reports of Atomos sightings from every corner of Eorzea. Surely you've at least heard the tales. And still, House Daemir went and built a mock Atomos of their very own. I'm not surprised the Archons consigned their work to a restricted archive. It was no easy task, but at last we've unearthed the volume we've been searching for. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted to stay longer. See what other forbidden titles might be lurking on these shelves. Ah, but that would be abusing the very special privilege we've been granted now, wouldn't it? Better not.
ruins alone were impressive enough, but I never dreamed such a treasure lay hidden in the depths of the bounty. It may have been helpful to know this device existed, Your Excellency.
My apologies. The gate was a secret I shared with none but my closest advisors. I feared for what might happen should those with ill intentions learn of its existence.
What is it you're doing now?
There's something I wish to verify. The NOAA reports claim that a short stint into the void carries little risk of etheric imbalance. Should one suffer an injury, however, or if one's expedition drags on longer than intended, that risk becomes significantly greater. Gra has theorized that a warding scale would confer protection from the void's corrupting influence. But I would prefer to test that hypothesis before we set foot in the 13th ourselves.
So, this is an experiment of sorts.
Yes, an experiment. Tell me, how would you go about testing the efficacy of the warding scale?
And how would you do that? The gate is still too small for any of us to pass through.
Estinian is correct, which is why I've elected to send a familiar in our stead. Now, a lowly imp can navigate a fissure, no matter how narrow. Which means an arcane entity of similar stature should be able to manage the same. I hadn't wanted it to come to this, but no other familiars will do, I'm afraid.
I mislike the sound of that. What manner of fiend does she mean to summon?
From ocean rise and cloudbank form, from mountain spring and rainfall storm, from river flow and life be born.
Water, water, froth and foam!
Ready your arms. I fear she's been possessed.
Oh, come now, that was adorable.
Water, water, froth and foam! Time to play!
Though not my first choice. These familiars I conceived of as a child have the best chance of fitting through the gate. I only wish my younger self had considered a more dignified ending to the creation ritual. In any case, these two should serve as well. This one will bear a warding scale. And when they return from the 13th, we can observe how the talisman, or absence thereof, has affected the progress of the Void's corruption. If I could impose upon you to open the gate. Your Excellency?
Ah, yes, of course.
We should also be wary of void scent slipping through while we conduct our experiment. Estinian, you are to keep Nadana safe from harm.
As you say.
You had best be on your guard as well. Oh, are you volunteering to join the Nixies? I could shrink you down, you know. Let us begin, shall we? Nixies, into the void. I think we've waited long enough. Nixies, return to my side. Thank you, little one. You did well.
Oh, the poor thing. Its essence has been irrevocably warped.
I cannot lie. I want to die.
We're out of time! I must reseal the void gate.
They're coming through!
In the name of Alzadal III, I bar this door unto the void!
Well, that was a sharp lesson in the dangers of void gates.
And what of our experiment? I'd say the results speak for themselves.
The unprotected Nixie has suffered extensive etheric corruption. As Nidana observed, it's well on its way to becoming a void scent. The one merged with the talisman, however, appears unaffected. I sense no changes to its equilibrium. Rest now, little ones.
Graha's theory was correct, then.
So it would seem. But while our second familiar was untouched by void energies, the talisman itself shows signs of degradation. It was, of course, originally designed to shield the soul from primal tempering. It stands to reason that etheric corruption of a different sort would affect it differently. We may need to modify the warding scale's design to account for the 13th's uniquely unstable ether.
You've said much of the Void's instability, but my imagination fails me. What manner of place is this broken world?
Ah, my apologies. I forget that not all of us spend our days sequestered in dusty archives. The 13th is a reflection of the source that was drowned in a flood of darkness. In Emmett Selk's own words, this tragedy was a result of the Ascians' attempts to force a rejoining. They erred in their haste, and made of that world a useless void. You remember Una Kalhai, the unusual child we met during our troubles with the Warring Triad. He explained the fate of the 13th thus. The champions of that ill-fated world used the stone known as Auracite to contain the power of primals. But those self-same heroes were gradually corrupted by the Auracite's bleeding energies, transforming into fiends with an endless hunger for ether. By the time anyone thought to oppose them, Light's strength had grown too feeble, and the balance of the 13th tipped into eternal darkness. It was Elidibus, as I recall, who rescued Una Kalhai's spirit from his final battlefield. But I wonder if there were others whom the emissary saved from oblivion. The server, Ciela, wasn't it? And you say she was another of Elidibus's pawns? I see. So Ciela, or rather Silver, was beguiled by the same dreams of heroism as Una Kalhai. And what of your own experience? Will you tell us of what you observed during Noah's expedition? I can picture it now. The sunless, Stygian expanse, infested with legions of ether-starved monstrosities. A void in every sense of the word.
What you have described in such lurid detail is exactly why I hesitate to encourage you.
Worry not, great Vritra. Our journey into the 13th is but the first leg of a longer voyage. A voyage that shall lead us to other reflections, to new mysteries and discoveries. And I mean to be there every step of the way. But first I must focus on refining the warding talisman.
Then I can begin work on constructing an artificial Atomos. Or I could if I had the relevant manuals to hand. Might I be so bold as to request access to the Satrap's family archives? Your Excellency?
Oh, yes. That can be arranged. I will speak to my officials upon our return.
We will see you back in the city then. Hey, Stola! The adjustments are going well, I hope?
'Tis a lengthy process, but the end is in sight, yes.
That's wonderful news. I myself had some good fortune searching through the Satrap's private records. What I found was a transaction log dated around the same period as when Alzadal's legacy was built. I then visited the High Crucible to commission the materials. After I'd explained my requirements, I was beset by volunteers insisting I allow them to help with the entire project.
The usual reaction to someone forcing open a void gate is to run for the hills. Harnish academics certainly are a different breed.
The alchemists of old were cut from a similar cloth. The unknown held no fear for them. Indeed, they were ever eager to seek new knowledge, regardless of the danger.
And were you not also fearless, heedless even, in your determination?
My sire entered his dormancy before I was hatched. And so it was Ashdaya who kept my eggs safe and warm. It created a bond between us. Even long after I learned to fend for myself, I rarely strayed from her side. She was my guardian, my sister, my dear companion. And not a single day passes that I do not mourn her absence. No matter how deep the darkness, I would not surrender my search. I promised myself the time would come when we would once more take to the skies together. But I am satrap now.
The Radiant Host is here to serve, Your Excellency.
Nabdeen, what is this about?
Celestinian told us of your predicament. For centuries you have protected Radzat Han, never showing your true self, hiding behind a curtain and living only in service to the people. Your dedication meant more to us than your deceit, and so did we accept you as our rightful ruler. After all that you have sacrificed for this nation, did you imagine we would begrudge you your heart's desire? We survived the final days. We are a strong and proud people. We, the Radiant Host, will keep Thavnair safe in your absence.
I am grateful for your loyalty and for your encouragement. And yet...
Now you listen to me, Varshan! You are wearing that face, after all. As I have told you before, you are a little brother to us all. And if you are family, then so too is your sister. We are there for you if you need us. But do not ask us to sit by and watch while you abandon a sibling you have ached to rescue for millennia.
We will succeed in opening the way. It is only a matter of time. All you need do is prepare to step through to the other side.
Your Excellency, I wanted to thank you for building the orphanage. It means so much that my sister and I will have a place to be together, safe and happy. And I hope that you and your sister can be together again too.
Take heart and protect them well. Such were the words I once said to you, and here I stand, failing to live up to them. If my heart is torn, I am fit to protect neither Ajdaya nor Radzatan. My people, I have come to a decision. Vashan will depart Thavne for a time. My dragon self will remain in the palace, but only to conduct the satrap's most essential duties. While I am focused on controlling this vessel, there may be matters that escape my attention. I rely on you, my trusted friends, to watch over one another until I return.
Take care and fair fortune, little brother. Many tears would be shed should you come to harm.
I would not dare make you cry.
to this world, bereft of service,